People have been asking me more and more, why did I sell my matchmaking agency? Or they'll say, oh, I saw one of your videos. Now I know why you sold your agency. And I thought, it's time. I need to tell you a few more things. 3 months ago, I sold Discover Love Matches, and it was an amazing experience. Within 12 days of finding the person I wanted to buy the agency, it was sold. It only was 14 days from when I made the decision. So it's pretty powerful when you set your mind to something. I knew I wanted to do some other things and I had other passion projects, and I just couldn't quite break free from the work I was doing with the matchmaking in order to make these other dreams come true. I am Jacqueline with JacquelineNichols.com. It is beautiful and amazing. I'm here on my balcony. I am coming to you from Auckland, New Zealand, and look at that. The sky is changing as the evening is starting to come. So I'm going to break this video up into a variety of segments. I want to talk about many things that made the decision to sell my agency. And so if you are looking for some ideas of what's next, maybe you have your own matchmaking agency, maybe you have your own business and you're wondering if you can expand or sell, or maybe you have some passion projects that you've been wanting to do, but you just haven't been able to work on them, and you've been wanting to do something different. So let's talk about some of these ideas. First and foremost, as you know, I'm very angel-led. I focus on what my angels say, and they're the ones that actually got me into the business. It was February 14th, 2010, that I went on a date with a very nice guy. And in that date, I realized, okay, he's sweet. He has a lot of neat qualities. We'd been on social media, but we had never met. And I posted, hey, I'm free for Valentine's. Anybody want to get together? He was the fastest one to jump on and said, hey, I already have a reservation. You want to go out? And I was like, perfect. We ended up picking one of my favorite restaurants. So we got a chance to finally meet, and we had a great time. He was nervous and worried and cautious, and he showed up with some chocolates, and it was really nice. We had a neat connection. I just enjoyed it. I didn't feel any sparks or anything. Well, during that week, he blew up my phone, was going through every emotion of wanting to be with me, wanting to learn more. I went out one more time with him to see if there was something more. And then one time I was watching a movie with my youngest son, Jonas, and this poor guy is messaging me over and over, and my phone is just buzzing like crazy. And I'm like, why does he need to message me so much? So he went from, I think you're my person, to you're not responding, so maybe you're not, to let's give this a chance, to I guess this isn't gonna work, all during this movie. And I was like, oh my gosh, all of these emotions and vulnerability, this is really hard. And so within 1 week of the first date, I decided to start my matchmaking agency. One guy turned my life in a whole nother direction. And it's so funny because it was actually this moment where I had thought about doing matchmaking and people had suggested it, and it just never quite hit the right time to do it until that date. And then that date that went to the second date, to the train wreck of it all. So literally 1 week, on February 21st, 2010, I bought my domain, I launched my website, I did all of it. It was pretty amazing. And I had clients within the first 20 minutes of announcing. I sent an email out to all of my angel clients who had been begging me to start my matchmaking business, and I sent them an email, and in the walk from my home, which back then was in Lake Oswego, and it was probably 20 minutes to the grocery store, and I walked with my kids to the grocery store, pulled out my phone, and all of a sudden I had all of these sales. And I looked at my kids and I go, where'd all this money come from? Why are people paying me? I had literally forgotten that I had just emailed all these people specials of, hey, become my first client. I'm doing the matchmaking. They were that eager and excited to hire me as their matchmaker that we hit the ground running right away. 15 and a half almost years later, I knew it was time to sell. I had had moments throughout the years where I was like, I'm tired, I'm done. COVID was really hard on dating. 2023 was my hardest financial year. My health was not good. I had a lot of struggles, and I just really couldn't do it at the rate I wanted to, so I was only working with very select clients. And really, COVID just worn people out, so people just weren't dating, so it was a lot more work than it had ever been in the years past. But after COVID, things got better. So 2024 ended up being a record-breaking year. And it was because I changed my business formula. I completely changed the design. I knew I was hitting a point where it was time to let go of the business, but I knew nobody was going to want a business that was so tied to me and all of my personality traits and all of my gifts and skill sets. So I needed to find something that could become more turnkey. Well, that was the turning point for me to realize that if I devoted for one full year to this new business model that was amazing. I have a friend in Greece who gave me a lot of ideas. Then I spun a bunch of things. My angels gave me ideas. And the coolest thing is I've never had to tweak one single part of this new formula once I made the decision. That's how perfect it is and how perfect it has continued to be. So after a year of proving this new formula, which is our virtual introduction dates, that I saw so many people falling in love, great relationships, many couples have come together in the time of the new formula, in addition to the couples, obviously, that are brought together for so many years. So when the moment hit that I was like, it's time to sell my business. The months leading up to that were kind of in my thoughts and in my possibilities. And some things that were important to me was that I noticed in January there was a shift in how people were looking about dating people of other ethnicities. And this was never an issue for all the 15 years before. Occasionally somebody would say that they were more attracted to a certain ethnicity, but it was very, very, very rare. Well, it changed, and that upset me. All of my children are in interracial relationships. All of their partners are of other ethnicities, and I love that. So that's important to me, to be open-minded and be curious about other people, other cultures. And I realized that not everybody is going to be open. I wanted to work with people that were more open. I'm glad that not everybody wants exactly the same race, but some people do. So I'm okay with that, but it didn't mean that's what I wanted to represent anymore. I also realized that I've been spending so much energy looking for everybody else's person, that every time I would meet somebody and they would talk with me, I would immediately go, oh, who can I introduce you to? I'm so professional and so appropriate and so proper that I don't even let myself enjoy the process. People would often say, didn't you ever have anybody come in the agency that you wanted to date? And I'm like, no, not really. I mean, there's some cute, for sure, some really great people, but I had the blinders of professionalism and appropriate thoughts. And so a lot of people actually start a matchmaking agency purely to find their person, and then they bail on their clients. Well, I'm to the other extreme. I only focused on my clients, and I didn't really date much in the 15 years, and I didn't have any relationships of significance. But earlier this year, I met somebody that blew up my world, a soulmate connection that made me realize I need to break free from the matchmaking in order to focus on me and my heart and my purpose and the person that I'm supposed to be with, because I'm going to just keep blocking this person from coming into my life if I don't stop being known as a matchmaker. I'm still struggling at how to introduce myself, how to tell people who I am and what I do without pulling in the matchmaking, because that's a huge part. It was the majority of my adult life was being a matchmaker for so many people. So if you have ideas on how I should rephrase and introduce myself now, that would be great. I'm working on it. I would love any input possible. But what I really want to get to is the fact that I realized that while I've been helping everybody else, I needed to help myself. So by selling the agency, I'm pledging to my own heart, vulnerability, the hard parts of it all, is that I'm going to let myself love again. This person that I met earlier in the year cracked some walls that I had chiseled pretty firmly around my own heart, and it just was so powerful. I'm so grateful. It was one of those reason, season, or lifetime connections, so I definitely had a reason to learn how to trust again and be vulnerable and feel what it's like to melt with somebody else. And then the reason is part of what's gotten me to do some more travels because of this person, showing me there was a bigger world out there. Lifetime, I don't know about that, but we'll never know lifetime until later. What it did is it woke my soul up so much that my angels yelled at me to meet this person. One morning I woke up and they were yelling at me that I had to be at a certain place at a certain time to meet a certain person that was going to F up my world. And he sure has done that. And we've kept in touch. Life has gotten busy. We live far apart from each other. But what it did is it woke me up in a way that I'm so grateful. And that's what I got from it. So the season, the reason, and the lifetime does matter and make a difference. Now, because I'm opening myself up, I'm making big changes, which means I'm going to be more vulnerable with all of this. I'm going to share more. But I knew that I just couldn't break free and keep the matchmaking in one box and keep my dating life in another. When I would try to date as a matchmaker, everyone thought I had to have all the answers. I had to know exactly where everything was going. And even as somebody who's gifted with the angels and I can bring it for other people, I also know that sometimes people come in my life for just a moment, a season. Some get the lifetime benefits. But this was something that was holding me back so much. And so I had to break free from the matchmaking in order to match myself. And I also realized that I have a bigger voice that I couldn't really say in the matchmaking because I have some bigger cultural thoughts. I have bigger travel thoughts. People want to meet somebody, for the most part, usually within about a 2-hour radius. And I was living in Mexico and working beautifully. And business actually was better when I lived in Mexico than when I was living in Portland because I was bringing a different energy forward. But it was harder to have a more personal connection. So I made sure I found an owner that is very devoutly devoted to the Pacific Northwest, which is perfect. But I want to go travel more. I want to explore. I don't know where my person's going to be. I don't know where I'm going to be. I just know that when the time comes and I need to be closer to friends and family, I'm always a suitcase away from wherever it is I need to go next. Now, the other parts about wanting to sell the matchmaking agency was the desire for somebody else to take it to the next level. I had been doing this for so long that I had gotten my own routine. And, just like any relationship, it sometimes needs a reboot. Sometimes it needs a change of scenery. I did that by going to Playa, changing up the business model, but it needed the next step. And that's what I needed to let go of. I needed the new owner to do it. She has come in and gotten so many more responses from people because she's new. I keep telling her, I go, you're the big dog. They're listening to you because you're new and you're in it for a different reason and different time frame. I had been fading out and just feeling like somebody needed to shake a new voice, and Rhonda has been perfect for that. So I had prayed for somebody that was going to really appreciate this opportunity, was going to honor my history as the founder, was going to create their own spin and voice, plus also be incredibly professional. And that's what I created in my mind of what I wanted. And the best part is she's the only person I actually offered it to, and we were able to pull it all together in such beauty and fashion and consistency because it was 100% meant to be. I also did it because I want to know what else I can do. I mastered building a 6-figure matchmaking agency that brought together such beautiful people. When I started my matchmaking agency, I thought it was going to be just about Bobby meet Susie, Susie meet Bobby. Hey, I think you guys are both cool. Now go for it. But it really was a lot of personal growth for people, a lot of relationship clarity, building of confidence, communication, understanding better what people wanted. I realized that the people that were just matched without the advice were not getting the success as the people that had the advice. So I also realized that I want to reach my voice and my skills and my knowledge at a much bigger space. Only working with people in a small proximity and radius was limiting that for me. And I knew once again that my voice was so much bigger and so much louder, and I needed to get way bigger of a ripple effect going on. And so again, another reason I needed to sell the agency. I also needed to sell it to show that I could, because I can tell you that there were definitely times that I almost just locked it all up and threw it in the garbage can. I was so exhausted and so tired. And I didn't think anybody would want to buy it, would understand what I did, would be able to keep the heartbeat alive. I worried about that, and I was cautious about it. I was protective about it because it was my reputation. And instead, I didn't let that stop me, but it did delay me multiple times from selling the agency. But you know what? It was well marinated. I waited for the exact perfect time. Just like any good relationship, I was ready a little sooner, but the business wasn't ready for me to sell it. And then when it was ready, I found the perfect person because I was also ready to let go. It's interesting because I'll meet people and they'll ask me about selling my matchmaking agency, and they're going, wow, it sounds so amazing. Are you glad you sold it? I'm like, absolutely. I'm just so proud of what I did. I'm very proud that I was able to build something so big, so impactful, and know that so many lives have changed, transformed, and grown because of it. The amount of families that are bigger because their loved one is now in a loving relationship because of my agency. The amount of people that have stronger confidence is because of what I did. Even the people that I didn't find their love match, I have to say the reviews and responses from people was so amazing. They never once said, oh, I failed them. They said how much they grew and they understood it just wasn't time, or they weren't as ready as they thought, or maybe they were needing to grow, or maybe their person wasn't ready yet. They gave me so much gratitude and appreciation, and they continue to do that when Rhonda talks to them. I know that I left a positive ripple effect. A legacy, that's pretty powerful, that even when I am out doing all my wild travel things, there are people in the agency that are being taken care of because I didn't quit on myself. I didn't quit on the agency. I didn't quit on everybody's love stories. I transferred it to somebody else that is ready for it. She's fresh. She's excited. She's invested. She loves the people. She gets why I was so obsessed with everybody. And she's doing her homework. She is making sure the members are doing their homework. It's really powerful. She is representing a whole different type of clientele. She is getting people that I had been friends with for a long time that didn't really know how serious my business was. And now she's talking to them and they're listening. They're taking note. So I want to let you know there are so many reasons that it was time to sell my agency, but the most important part is I made the decision when I was ready, and I sold it at a price that I'm proud of, and I sold it to a person that I'm honored is taking on the legacy, and I am oozing with pride knowing that all of these beautiful people that I've poured into for so many years are not being left behind. They are going to continue to be loved up and supported, and Rhonda keeps me updated with all the good news and all the updates. So my heart with pride. My angels are so happy because they picked her as the owner and I listened. And now I get to be in New Zealand, enjoying life, enjoying my quiet time, reflecting, pausing, and getting ready for my next big chapter. I have some big things coming and I'm just fine-tuning them because right now I'm in no rush. I get to take this time. I've been going hard for so many years, and this is a time and a chance and an opportunity for me to find my voice again, to find out what it is that I need to do. So, why do you think I sold my matchmaking agency? You know I'm going to have a few more ideas to share soon, but let's keep this conversation going and know that I'm thinking a lot about you, and you are my inspiration, my motivation, and my angels are excited that you're listening because they're always tripping little things in for you to listen. That's why I'm sharing.